Okay, so today I'm going to show you something that kind of hurts to teach you, only because I do it for a living. So again, only selfish reasons. But I did set out to teach you everything I know, so from time to time that is just going to be me pulling out a gun and shooting myself right in the foot. So don't say I don't love you. Or you could finally love me back by deciding to sign up to my Patreon. There's no pressure. So today we're going to be making a website. How cool is that? Remember when you were in high school and you had to make websites for class? And you basically spent all this time coding just so you could get a picture of a cat that didn't quite load properly. So you spent half the time playing RuneScape. Thankfully these days it's just so much easier to make a website, but I'm just going to show you a few tips and tricks today just to make it a little more streamlined for you. Basically, if you're one of those kids that used to slave away on your MySpace layouts, then you're going to do just fine at this. And if you don't know what MySpace is, please just don't tell me. I don't want to feel old. Now, just quickly before I launch into the how of making a website, let's just discuss the why. Why make a website? You may be thinking most people just use Facebook or Instagram. What is the use in paying what can be up to $200 a year for a website? There's a lot of utility in a website, especially when you're doing things like pre-orders. If you make your website streamlined enough, you can basically have your link on Facebook or Instagram that directs your fans to your website where your pre-orders may be. Maybe a little bit of information about the release, and just make a nice and easy, simple click hole for people to go through and purchase your music. And I'll show you how to do that today. There's a bunch of other little things that having a website is really great for. So on Wix, which is what we'll be using today, you can do things like marketing campaigns, which is something I'll definitely do like an entire episode on later on because they're great. You can even have a retail store, and it's generally just a really cool way to separate yourself from the pack that little bit more by having a professional landing page for people to kind of see. Like, you can really theme your website to your release, and I think it looks a lot nicer and a lot cooler than just, you know, your regular blue and white layout, which is Facebook. So what you're gonna need today is Photoshop, the internet, and a credit card or debit card because we're gonna be paying some money to sign up for the premium. Cool, so today I'm going to show you how to make a site that's great as a landing page for your next release's pre-order. I'm going to make a really basic site, and I'll use Gravemind again as an example because I've already got all the assets basically. But I'm going to be showing you how we go about preparing our assets for the site as well. So I purposely picked some images and assets for the site that I'll need to edit to use because that's most likely what you'll be working with anyway. The aim today is to make a simple, great looking site that's going to be really easy for your fans to buy or pre-order your music from basically. So I'll describe to you kind of like what the site's going to look like, and then I'll do my best to make that site as quickly as possible, and then let you know what things you're going to do to actually make it look good, because there's a lot of fiddling around with these sorts of things, even when you're using templates, especially when you're importing your own assets. It just takes a lot of time, so even if it looks a bit rough today, hopefully you'll know all the things you need to do just to make it look nice and refined. So we're going to be doing like a band promo with your logo at the top of the page. Then the next thing we're going to do is just have your most recent single, if it's a music video, up next. Then links to your streaming services with like a nice little album art next to it. Then your merch, where to get it from. And then lastly, like tours. We basically have an application that shows you what tours you've got coming up. If that's something you're even able to do at this point. Big sad. Okay, so go to wix.com. I'm not going to run you through how to make an account. You should be able to just do that yourself. You're an adult, hopefully. Or you can be a child, I don't care, it's fine. You can be a kid, it's all good. So once you've set up your account, you're going to get this little page where you can create new sites and everything. Go up to here, click on create new site. It's going to ask you what kind of thing, just go other. Choose a template. Yeah, so just pick something nice and simple, like this one. This one I've checked out before. I know it's good. You just go to view full demo. It'll show you kind of what bugger off. It'll show you their version of it. So it'll show you what, like, you know, what their template looks like. Basically, I kind of want to have like a layout similar to this, so I'll use this one. Cool. Just click edit this site. That one's called the Toxic Void. If you want to follow along at home, there's a lot going on here. You don't need to worry about a great deal of this stuff, but what we're going to do first is just delete everything. Just get rid of everything gross. Even get rid of that. We're not going to need to make multiple pages. It's going to be a simple one pager. Delete that. Keep your social links. Maybe center them. You can see, obviously, it's kind of like Photoshop in a way. It'll show you where the center of things are with that nice little purple line. So just chuck it right in the center for now, and then you can go Control A. See ya. Just delete everything. Cool. I mean, like, delete like everything but those social links. I think we'll keep those social links, but just delete everything else because it looks kind of gross. I mean, no offense if you're banned, like, it's a lot like that. if you're a toxic void kind of band, do apologize. Cool, so now you're basically ready to start setting things up. You might be thinking to yourself, what the hell am I going to do here? Well, I'm going to show you what we're going to do here. It's going to be nice and simple. So we are going to go add image, upload some images, because we're going to put our nice little band promo right at the top. And you can actually go upload media here to upload a bunch of stuff. There you go. Upload from your computer. And then grab your promo. But before you grab your promo, oh, look at that. Crap, that's 6.41 megabytes in size. That's ridiculously large for a website in Australia. Maybe not anywhere else in the world because everywhere else's internet's pretty good. But here, 6.41 megabytes is just going to slow everything down. It's going to take too long to load. So what we're going to do is we're going to cancel this. Ooh, tricked you. And then we're going to open up Photoshop. We're going to go to where our promo, our little 6 megabyte promo is hiding. And we're going to make it a bit smaller. So right click it. Open with Photoshop. Creepy. Now our promo is loaded. There we all are. Looking very emo, very sad. So it's very good. All you gotta do is go File, Export, Save for Web Legacy. Go up to here, make sure you've selected JPEG, and then you can look at your quality for your file size. Sometimes it's like set to like say very high or something, or maximum, whatever. In the bottom left-hand corner here, it says what this file size is going to be once you've exported it. So 3.87 meg is just too big, so let's try medium. 591 kilobytes, that's a lot nicer. Save, and then just rename it Promo Small. What do you want to call it? Groovy. That's much better now. So we can go back to our website, upload from computer, and we can pick our promo that's much smaller and much better utilized for a website. Cool, and once that's uploaded, just go add to page and drag it and make it bigger. There we go. That looks alright. You can do some editing from the actual image itself once you've popped it in as well. So it's kind of like a bit too, I don't know, square-ish. I'd rather a bit more widescreen. You can actually go crop. And you can crop it yourself on the website. It's really cool. It's like it's a really good website editor. There's a lot of options. If you've got an issue with something, how it looks, you can even like go in there. You can do filters. You can animate it to fade in when the website starts. All that sort of groovy stuff. Cool. So we've got a nice little promo there. It's looking alright. Top right hand corner here, there's a button called Preview. Click that. It's going to show you what it's going to look like when it's published. Obviously, I'm running a pretty big boy screen here. Most of the time, it's not going to show these little bars at the side that are grey. You can actually change that as well. So we go back to editor. Say you want that black that they've got there to blend in nicer with the background. You can go change page background, and you can go to your settings here for the image, color behind the image, because this black, like kind of crusty demons looking thing here, this is actually just a picture. So the color behind the image is this weird grey thing. So change that to jet black, and what do you know? That blends in much nicer. So we go back to preview. There we go. That's a much nicer looking background. Groovy. So you can see that promo sitting there nicely. What else do we need? We need a logo. Again, back to images. My image uploads. Upload media from the computer. I've got a logo that I have prepared earlier. Now this is a white outline logo. It's going to go on the page beautifully, just like that. And because it's a PNG file with no background, it's got no background, so you can kind of put it wherever you want and the logo fits there quite nicely. Now let's just say, for instance, you haven't got that. You've got a logo and it is, let's just say, yeah, your logo is kind of, your background's baked in and it's purple, and then you're going to be putting this in your website and you're going to have this big purple looking silly thing. What you can do is go to eraser tool on the side here, select magic eraser tool, and you can literally just delete the colors like this. There you go. And then when you've got little checkered boxes behind anything on Photoshop, that basically means there is no background. Now if you save this image, this logo, as a JPEG, so file, export, save for web legacy, if you exported it as a JPEG, you'll see here it's got the white background. But if you go up and you select PNG, it'll look exactly like it does here. And that's what you want for your logos. You want to be able to just pop them on the page and drag them over your image. So Now that we've got the logo there, it's all perfect, it's all white, it's all nice, we can move on. Next thing, ad. We're going to do a video to promote your latest single. We're going to go down to the video, and wherever you've got it streaming from, I don't know what band you'd have to be to have your video on Vimeo. So we're going to be a normal human being here. We're just going to select YouTube and just chuck it there. Resize it. Let's see where I'm going with this. And it's as simple as going change video. It really is just like follow your nose on this. Let's just say, alright, Gravemind, Volgan music video. Copy that. Yes, I'm running ad blocker. Don't tell anyone. There you go. You resize it. Make it look as nice as you want. Drag it down a bit. And now this is where I'd start labeling things to kind of make it look a little bit more succinct, kind of tell people what they're looking at. Like obviously, to most people, they know they're going to be looking at a home page, and then a single, and then merch, and whatever else is going to come next. But I would suggest labeling it anyway. You can check in all the different texts here. So again, plus button for add, text, select a heading, call this Volgan. And then you can make it obviously in center. All your design options for your text are here. Another great thing with Wix is you can upload custom font. So these are all the ones that it comes with. They're all really gross. Could you imagine? So you've got all your fonts here. You can actually upload your own fonts, which I've done. So I can go to my lovely Gravemind fonts here. Woo! Volgan. Cool. Then we go down. What's next? We have got to let our fans know that they are here to help us out with something, which is to pre-order our EP. So why don't we upload a picture of our album or EP cover or whatever it may be. Groovy, here we go. Oh, I've done it again. That's 1.9 megs, that's way too big. Good job. Good job for catching me out there. I was nearly about to upload that. That would have been so embarrassing. You never would have forgiven me. Do the same thing again. Right click, open your artwork in Photoshop. File, export, save for web legacy. Start playing around with this until you get a more reasonable size. I think anywhere between 200 to 600 kilobytes is good. I think 100 is way too low. It's going to look really, really gross. A bit like pudding. There we go. 240, that's fine. Save that. Cover. Underscore. Small. No dash. Small. There we go. Go back to our website. Click on that. And move it to the trash. Try and keep things as neatly as you possibly can on everything you do, from Photoshop to website design, because it can get really out of hand. Cool. Small. Once that's uploaded, add it to your page. And then drag it down. Resize it, make it look nice, because what we're going to be doing next to this, we've got a little bit of an about me section about the album. Whatever you want to write. So go back to your text. Add a paragraph. Make it a bit bigger. Let's just say, edit text. Hi, my name's Conduit, and this is an album about big scary breakdowns and really sad boys. We worked really hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. I would always recommend uploading fonts that are already on your album artwork. So for us, it was this pack of what they call TT Squares. TT Squares Light looks pretty good for us. Yeah, try and keep everything kind of uniform. So obviously, even in the thumbnail here, you can see we use the alien font. I've used the same logo for the Gravemind, and then this Volgan here, that's the TT Squares and say bold or whatever. You can actually find out what the font is on your records by going to this little website I've saved. It's a fucking awesome website. If you go on whatthefont.com, you can actually upload pictures of like your artwork or your merchandise or something like that, and it'll find the font that's in the actual picture. Click that, and it'll start suggesting you fonts that are like the font in your picture. So you don't even need to know what the font is. Here we go. What's close to that? It's probably that one, Swiss 911. Never forget, standard ultra compressed. Yeah, That's actually, I'm pretty sure, the exact same font. So then you go, it's like, going to say here, it's going to charge you money, like $35 to download the font, but you can actually just Google this usually and go free download. And what do you know? There it is. It's free. You have to pay $35 for it. Obviously, read what it says about using creative licenses, la-di-da. I do that every single time, obviously. I've never not done that. Yeah, so that's a really great website you can use to work out what the font is in your artwork. You know, or you could just ask your graphic designer. Hopefully you're still on good terms. Who knows? Cool, so now you've got your little blurb here about the album. Copy this. Bring it down. Edit your text. Conduit. I would actually, look, this doesn't make any sense. I gotta go back and fix this. So, the latest single. Vulcan. Change that to something that looks a little bit less ridiculous. Let's go light. Nope. Lighter. Thin. Small. There we go. Change a few parameters to make it look a little bit nicer. Character and line spacing. Oh, that's good. 0.3. I'm going to steal that. Beauty. The latest single. Vulcan. There we go. And then I'm going to steal that. Copy paste it. Sorry, Conduit. The new album by Gravemind. Conduit. Descent. Oh my god. That'd be ridiculous. Imagine doing Ascent for a metal band into these stinky ads. Okay, cool. So this is the next part. You want to advertise your album, a little bit about it, and then say where people can get it from. So I'll show you how we make custom links, which is pretty fun. So you're going to go across here. Obviously there's so many different streaming platforms we can use. We're just going to use Spotify today. I'll include a little link on where you can get these logos from if you'd like. Otherwise you can usually just Google, you know, Spotify logo. Do the same thing I did before, showing you with if you get the logo. You do the thing if you got a bunch of pink on the background, you can go through and just start deleting and making the logo look better. Most of these streaming services actually offer like official logos and things to use. So I'll put that in the description. You can download that yourself. But today, just to save time, we're just going to do Spotify. We can resize everything a little bit better. We can put the Spotify right next to it. Obviously, you'd have a bunch of different streaming services. So you'd have like your Apple Music, maybe your Google Play, maybe your YouTube, maybe your Australian retail site, maybe your American retail site. And what we do for each of these, you go and you click on it, and you can actually just add a link to it. So that little button there, link, click it, and then select web address. New window is probably a good idea. Put your URL in, so www.buythealbum.com, whatever it may be. Hit done, and when you click on it, when you click publish, it'll act as if it's a link. And again, all these different elements you've got here, you can animate them as well. So you could have this animation, you could have it. That's what's glide in look like. That looks pretty bad. Fade in, customize, set the delay on the fade in. Do the same thing with your logo here. Animation, fade in, customize. Let's delay that a bit after the promo comes in. Then when you go preview, check this out. It looks a lot nicer. It looks like a little bit less like a template built site, something you actually put a bit more time and effort into, which is pretty cool. You can do that with every single aspect here. All your links, have everything fade in, have it look as nice as you want. So as you can see here, we're actually starting to build a site. It's actually starting to look like something. Promo at the top, latest single that just came out, you want all the big views for, where to stream and buy your album from, and I suggest doing something like, you know, your merchandise. Show your shirts, show your vinyl, where to get it from. It's nice having a visual aspect of your music that's coming out. So I've purposely chosen a merchandise image for this site that's going to need a little bit of editing in Photoshop. It's going to need a little bit of love. I'll show you what it looks like now. Let's just say we select our merch bundle option. This is where all our merchandise is. It's, you know, it's all from one store, which is nice and tidy. And we're like, cool, we'll put a picture of all our merchandise on the site. It'll look awesome. And add it to the page. Ugh, yuck. I don't know about you, but that to me just makes it feel uncomfortable. It's just like a white background. It's all nice and like black and succinct, and all the color palettes are all kind of matching and all the rest of it. And then you just got this disgusting image of your merch. Blech. But that's just say, you know, your designer made that for you. That's all you've got, it's just a white background. I'm going to show you really quickly how you make that look a little bit better. And if you are keen and following along at home, you'll already know magic eraser tool. Now I'll show you what can happen sometimes. Worst case, let's just say this is set to 200. You delete that. Oh my god, look at that. The vinyl has actually disappeared. All the writing on the sleeve is gone. It's all crusty, it looks gross. Yuck. That's because your tolerance is up way too high. So Control Z, bring it back. Set it to something like 10. It's a solid color. It's just white. Bam. Vinyl looks good. All still there. All the design along the side of your jacket, whatever the hell else is going on, it's all still there. It all looks good still. I noticed from doing this a lot of times that chucking this on the website as it is going to get lost because there's just so much black. Putting a bunch of black metal looking clothing against a black site, you're not really going to see it. So I don't know if you watched my last video about using Photoshop. I probably should have asked you at the start before you just launched into this. I'm very sorry if you haven't. Go back and watch that now. We're going to do some blending options. We're going to go down to my best friend, the drop shadow, and we're going to make it so it stands out nicer on the web page. So what we're going to do here is you got to make sure your blend mode's selected to normal in this instance, and we're going to mess around with these dials here, the spread and the size. Ooh, look at that, that's pretty cool. I think a nice little outline will do it some good. Now it's currently set to purple at the moment. I like that color actually, but that's not going to go with anything on this site. As you can see, it's got a nice little orange theme going here. Orange thumbnail, orange artwork. Obviously Spotify logos can be whatever the color they want. That looks fine to the human eye. But for your merchandise, we should just try and keep it nice and similar to the color layout that we've got here. And the way I'll show you how to do that is by, what we're going to do is we're going to match it to this orange of the alien lettering, because everything kind of matches that orange. I asked my photographer, Andrew Basso from Electron Photography, to make sure the tint or the hue on the promo matched the color of the text and the color of the conduit. Same color there, everything. What we can do to find out what that color is, import your album artwork or whatever it is that you're matching the color of, hit enter, go back to your blending options, select your drop shadow, go back to your box, hover your ink dropper over the top, bam, you've got the color. And go OK. Mute that layer, go back to your drop shadow. I would say maybe make the opacity solid, but crank down the spread, crank down the size, you know, give it like just a small, like not an excessive drop shadow, but just enough to make it pop off the website background, which is a very sturdy black. And then as you can see here, because we've done that drop shadow, it's kind of clipping off the edge there. Just click your image, hit Control T or Command T if you're on a Mac. If you're a Mac boy, resize it, hit enter, file, export, save web legacy. And remember, we're not doing JPEG, because if we do JPEG, you've got the solid white background. We're going to do a PNG, either 24 or 8. We're not going to do 24 because look, it's 1.3 megabytes. It's a bit excessive in size. PNG 8's good. 506, perfect. Save it. Merch dash small. Save. Now we can go back to the website and we can add the merchandise and we can add our links and where to get it from. So add image. Image uploads. Upload your media. See where we're going here. It's a lot of doing the same thing again and again. At least to start with, until we have to start basically moving everything around and making sure it looks good. So add your merchandise to your page. Hey, look at that. Very cool. Very, very cool. Make it a bit smaller. Again, Control C, Control V, grab the same title, bring it down here. And then you will actually need to move it around until you get that solid purple line. That solid purple line from top to bottom means it's center. If you didn't already know that, now you do. No worries. Here we go. Pre-order conduit merchandise. Merchandisey. Stretch it out. Back in the center. There we go. Hey, that looks pretty cool. Now, this was solved for us through a website called Artist First. They sell a lot of merchandise, a lot of bands that you know and love. A lot of Grayscale bands go, well, I think all the Grayscale bands go through Artist First. You might want to actually have their logo there as a clickable button. And that's just say you haven't got the logo, you haven't got the contact, so go to Google. artist first logo. You can do this with just about any store, whether it's in Pericom, Bandcamp, whatever it may be. And oh, there it is right there. And oh my god, it's so amazing. It's already a PNG. We don't have to do anything to it. Unless it's a trick. Sometimes these are tricks. Back to website. You guessed it. All the same as before. Upload. AF logo. Chuck that on your page. Because there's a bunch of space over here, it's not looking great. What you can do is click, shift click, grab both things, and pull them into the middle, like so. And it looks pretty cool. Obviously, again, you can chuck your links onto the button. You can even chuck your link onto this picture as well, which will link you to the Artist First website. And then that's all looking pretty good. We're actually getting a pretty gnarly looking website in like under 20 minutes, which is pretty cool. Look at this Spotify's. It looks ridiculous. Last thing you want to add, if you can add it, I really hope you can, is tour information. So generally just pop that right at the bottom of the page. Catch us on our next postponed tour. Mad. Center that. What's great is actually Wix has a bunch of apps, so go across to the left here and then go to add apps. And I would suggest using what they call Bands in Town. Bands in Town is fantastic for bands to use. It's like your own little profile. People can follow it as well, and they get like email notifications, so when you're in town, which is fucking awesome. Connect account, Gravemind, you just search for it, you don't need to log in or anything like that. Bam! And there's all our geeks that that are definitely going ahead. Then what you can do is actually, because this looks kind of stupid, like in terms of like its layout compared to the rest of everything else, especially with the font. The great thing about this is you can actually change the font to match whatever font it is that you've got set. There we go, let's change that. I'll do it really quickly and just skip ahead, you don't need to see all this, but just go through design and change all the buttons. You can change all the colors of the backgrounds, you can change the tiles and everything like that. It's pretty cool. Groovy. So obviously I've just shot ahead here, but I've just changed the fonts to match everything, make it all look nice, and yeah, got it all lined up, looks pretty good. And then what you can do is just grab this, bring it up, and I would suggest in the footer of this adding some information about contact information. So add things like, you know, who you're managed by, hopefully that's yourself, your booking agents, any relevant contact information, things like your label, stuff like that. And obviously I cheated and skipped ahead here, but you can do the same in your own time. It's very fiddly. I don't want to waste your time with all that, but you just create a text box, chuck it in the footer, add your contact details, and let's give this a look. Now that looks like a pretty cool landing page website. So like I said, use something like this for getting people off Facebook, getting people off Instagram, and get them to a site where they can kind of see all the information that you need them to know. You want them to know kind of how groovy and cool you look and how emo and sad you are. Then you want them to see, maybe it's your most recent single. You can change these as well, so maybe it's more important for you to get them to start streaming or pre-saving or whatever. Pop this where the single is, put the single below that. You can just pop the merchandise at the very top, whichever way you want. The best websites I've seen are a kind of combination of this sort of stuff, and just this sort of stuff. It's just a single landing page. As you can see, it looks really cool on desktop, but if we go up to the top left hand corner here, you'll see switch to mobile view. It is gonna look like hell. Oh, are you kidding? Yeah, no, no, that looks pretty bad. For a second I thought that it was gonna look fine, because every single time I've made a website and then click that button, it's just like pure hell. But thankfully it does look kind of crap, because I get to prove my point. So then go to the top right hand corner here, go back to editor, and we're going to tidy up. No, skip this, bugger off. We're going to tidy up everything on here to make it look better, to make it look at least presentable for a website. So you can see all this negative space up here in your header that you don't need. There's a little menu icon here. Delete that, because we're not using any other page besides the home page. Drag your header up, make it real nice and tiny. Shift click to both of these, drag them up to the top. And you can kind of go through, it's the options for customizing your mobile site are very, very lacking on like Squarespace and on Wix and any of these website builder websites. What you can do on the mobile aspect is just sorely lacking. So it's mostly just problem solving at this point. You want it to look as good as it possibly can, but every now and again, you're going to have to live with the fact that it's going to look a bit shitter on your phone compared to what it looks like on a desktop. But just so long as it's following the same basic principles of displaying the information that people need to know, you're going to be all good. Let's make this look a bit nicer, shall we? So most of the time, all I need to do is make the font much, much smaller. I know that looks absolutely tiny and stupid when you're doing it on a desktop, but trust me, when you go to your phone, it's going to look fucking massive. When you're dragging things, you don't have to go one at a time to drag things up, and I probably should have showed you this on the desktop site. You just grab one of these two, I don't know, you call them sliders or something, and it moves everything below it up and down, as opposed to going, oh, one at a time, one at a time, one at a time. You just click on the thing that you want and then bring it down. Click on the thing that you want there. Do you know what I mean? I hope that makes sense. Okay. So I'm going to bring this back up to there. Get a bunch of negative space. You can actually just delete that space. Wow, that's pretty cool. Make that one a bit smaller as well. Match that up. And this is really annoying. It's like you are literally going off of a vibe here. Like, as you can tell, the space between the font here and the video is different to the space here between the promo and that font. It's like, it's not easy to make it look good. You literally got to go through and just line it up perfectly. It's very time consuming. It's very stupid, but it's got to be done to make everything look pretty tight. Make that a lot smaller. You can keep that the same size you want. You can try and do things like this and try and fit everything in. Good luck. I mean, it's personal preference of what you think looks best when you're editing the mobile site. Obviously, all these Spotify images, you want to like tile them like this. And so there you go. Now that's all moved around, it kind of looks a lot nicer now. Go back to preview, and you will see what it roughly looks like on a phone. When you're ready, you're basically going to go to the top right hand corner and click publish, and that'll make you a new site. So you can actually send this site to people, but what it's going to have is it's going to have this Wix branding at the top. It's going to look real GIMP, real amateur hour. You got to basically pay for premium to just get rid of that and get your own custom domain, which we'll get to in just a sec. But this is a way you can check to see what it looks like. You can send this website to other people, and you're going to need to check it on different devices as well. You're going to have to check it on things like your laptop, your phone, your desktop computer, your work computer, because it's always going to look a bit different depending on the size of the screen. And you can't always get an accurate representation by just doing this. You actually just have to jump on different computers and see what it looks like. So they make the website building tool as easy as it possibly can be, but most of your time is going to be spent troubleshooting, making sure everything looks nice. Obviously going through, adding all your links, adding all your animations, and it gets more complicated than this. Like, again, this is quite basic, but the app store they've got here is quite comprehensive. You can do groovy things like, you know, countdown websites. You can have animated backgrounds. You can actually have a full retail store on the site, which I'll show you how to do at another time. So I've got one of those going for the actual Gravemind website at the moment. So if we go to store official merch Australia, we actually run our own merchandise store through the website, which is fucking awesome, because you get 100% of all the profits, whereas most places you sell merchandise through like third parties, they'll take like a cut. And most likely it's around about 20%. I don't know about you, if you're not the biggest band in the world, which we certainly are not, you can do it yourself. You can sell the merch yourself. You can keep an eye on it. You see how everything's going in real time. So, which is why we have our store through our website. So another time I'll show you how to do that. That takes a long time to kind of get set up. But if you do a good enough job of making this website yourself and you know, following your nose and checking out all the different apps and editors and things on the site, then there's a good chance you might actually just be able to work it out yourself. But again, once you've got it all published and it's nice and it's looking cool and groovy, and you go to your view site, you got that Wix branding at the top. The way you get rid of it is you have to upgrade your site. So top corner here, upgrade, obviously, compare plans, and I'll go over it really quickly with you just to make sure you're not picking the wrong, like picking something that's a bit lame. If at some point you're going to be wanting to sell merchandise, you want to go through a business plan. And they've got different prices here. If you're just going to be using it as a landing page that links people to other places where your merch is being sold. You can just go for a regular website plan. I just select the cheapest one, combo. You don't really need anything else. I just don't see why you would need anything else besides what they offer on this like most basic plan. It does say that it comes with a custom domain, which is where you select and you choose your own domain name. They don't let you get to that screen until you've basically paid for everything, which is really, really cheeky because I think the domain that they have listed for sale are quite limited compared to somewhere like GoDaddy. GoDaddy's just got so many more domains, so you can check there first before you buy it, and it'll show you what's available, what's not. I find the domains they have available on Wix are like quite limited, and again, you don't know what they have available for you to purchase or hire or use for a year or whatever until you've paid, which is just super cheeky. But in any case, just pick the cheapest option, and then hopefully the domain you have is there. If it's not there, I'm just saying go to somewhere else like GoDaddy and check. Don't go thetoxicvoid.com is gone, damn it. I have to call it thetoxicvoid.net.au/gov. Check somewhere else first, because most likely they'll have it for sale there. So there you go, that's how simple it is to make a website. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode and you got something from it. Again, something I usually charge for is to make websites, so if you want to be really nice and help me out, you can subscribe to Patreon, which would be really cool. I would be very happy. I would love you forever more than I already do. Or you can just not pay anything and keep enjoying these. I'm actually having a lot of fun making them. If you think of anything that you kind of want me to research or kind of give you some information about, leave a comment in the comment section below. Like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and I'll see you next time.